dropping videos and they were getting like 80 views, you know? But I've been shocked by our breakout. It's just gone way better than I expected. So we had one that got like, I don't know, 30,000 views. Maybe like 25% of those people made it through the whole thing. So that's like 7 or 8,000, right? Think about a football stadium with 7,000 people in it. That's a crazy number of people sitting there listening to you teach for 15 minutes. And you're like, what are your goals of YouTube? I'm like, the only thing I want from this thing is to be able to like flow qualified leads into my SaaS. This other agency has pitched me this service, right? And you were like, that will not work. You need to actually make YouTube videos. 70% about tangential problems to your ICP, 30% shameless VSLs. As a result of how wonderful this has been, I've recommended you to several people who are extremely satisfied with the service also. I don't know what your magic is. My interpretation is you're really good using AI, nailing my voice. You know, Alex, my guy for LinkedIn, like he lives in LinkedIn, right? Like you're living in YouTube, so you know what good YouTube is. It's obvious to me that people will be going to YouTube to learn more about B2B in the future, way more than they do now.
What's up, guys? I'm here with my client, Adam Robinson. So Adam, really thanks a lot for just hopping onto this. I want to ask you, first of all, like, can you introduce yourself like very briefly and just describe what you do? And yeah, we'll go from there.
Sure. I am the founder and CEO of RB2B and retention.com. I also post a lot on LinkedIn, so you may know me from there.
Yeah, I'm assuming most people will have
who are watching
an idea of who you are, for sure, I would say. Awesome. And yeah, just like briefly, where were you before working with us when it comes to YouTube and everything when it comes to long form video content?
Yeah, so like this has been my YouTube journey. So I felt until about a year ago, I still had a lot of low hanging fruit to improve on LinkedIn. Then once I felt like that was, you know, there wasn't like really easy improvements to make anymore. The next thing was like, okay, like I'm spending this time creating this content on LinkedIn. Like, how do I get it on other channels? And it was like, okay, well, what's the next channel? I talked to Dave Gerhardt about it. He thought YouTube was the channel. And then I put a post out. I'm like, can I, you know, anybody want to help me out with YouTube? And then I interviewed a bunch of people and I basically got a guy who was an agency and was editing my weekly show, which is, you know, 2 hosts, 1 guest interview. And it, you know, it wasn't getting any traction. And he had this idea that was good, but what would be really great is if Pete interviewed me and I was the expert, right? But no further guidance than that. So like Pete and I tried to like make the studio setup so it looked like we were in the same place. And, you know, we tried to record 1 episode. It was extremely difficult. And the idea of trying to make that, like, I feel like I've had enough failure and success in business to like sort of know when something has the potential of working. And the idea of the amount of energy that it would have taken to make that into like a good show for YouTube was just insurmountable, basically because, you know, I didn't really know what a good YouTube video was. Then I saw this post on LinkedIn about this other agency that was breaking down one of Finn Thormier's pieces. And I was like, well, that's really smart. He does an interview show. Let me hit these guys up. Somehow this same week, you reached out to me through Sam and you're like, what are your goals of YouTube? I'm like, the only thing I want from this thing is to be able to like flow qualified leads into my SaaS. And I'm like, this other agency has pitched me this service, right? And you were like, that will not work. You need to do something like Instantly and HubSpot Marketing will do. You need to actually make YouTube videos. 70% about tangential problems to your ICP, 30% shameless VSLs. And by the way, here's your first script. If you want to record it, I'll make it into a YouTube video for you. So I was like, that sounds great. And then it was enough to get on a phone call. And, you know, much to my surprise, this working relationship, as you were, you know, describing as it was going to be, would be no weekly calls, completely async. There would be an idea doc we'd be running. I would provide supporting materials. You'd get me the script. I'd record it on my own on Riverside. You guys would edit and post. And then if I could drive traffic to it, great. That probably helped in the beginning, but you know, I haven't been, and we've had the biggest videos yet. The last, you know, 2 of the last 6 have been. So, you know, for me, this was like a dream come true. You know, it's like I wanted to expand the YouTube channel. You know, it's taking me no longer than an hour a week to do so, which I think is totally worth it. You know, I think the largest direct source of leads for any B2B business is always going to be LinkedIn. But like, you know, that my attitude is if I just keep doing this YouTube thing over time, it is compounding. They're evergreen assets. And I'm kind of, you know, indoctrinating these people like before they get to LinkedIn in that stage of their life. Right. So like, that's how I'm looking at it. And I have recommended, you know, as a result of how wonderful this has been, I've recommended you to several people who are extremely satisfied with the service also. So, I think it's like, I don't know what your magic is. My interpretation is like, you're really good at like using AI and like nailing my voice and like knowing when we need more or less supporting assets or like whatever. And you also like, Alex, my guy for LinkedIn, like he lives in LinkedIn, right? Like you're living in YouTube, so you know what good YouTube is. So yeah, man, that's the story. If anybody's in a similar position as me, if you're already a content creator, it's going to be very easy to get this going, and I can't really speak for anybody else, but I know Taylor is not quite the level of content creator I am, and it's working great for him. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, really appreciate to hear all of this, and yeah, really appreciate all the kind words. In terms of like the impact that you've seen, because I think the first video went out like 5 months ago that we did together, and since then we've been like uploading pretty consistently. In terms of the impact that you've seen so far in that like 5 months, can you tell me a bit more about that?
So look, I know we're getting signups from the videos because I see UTMs. I'm working, like most of our signups are on desktop, and a lot of people on desktop use ad blockers. So like, I know that the tracking, this is a separate problem I'm trying to solve. All I'm trying to say is, I don't know the like actual, dollars through the funnel impact of it. What I can say is like, I just get, like content's a strange thing. Like, I know people are reading the content because I like go to a place in the real world and they like tell me they read my stuff. Like that's like, these numbers are all kind of like weird until you actually go to the world of your ICP and they're like talking to you as if you're like friends or something, right? So like I know people, what am I trying to say? It's like, how do I know people are only signing up for RBDB from my LinkedIn? Like I don't, but like I know that reach is so big and the traffic's got to be coming from somewhere. So like I just think it's like, it has done what I had hoped and like amplified the sort of like the breadth of my founder brand. And I think over time it's creating a type of super fan that the LinkedIn stuff is not. Like just because the power of video is like, it's just so much greater than the power of text in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep doing it. Keep trying to make it better.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree that like, especially recently, we've been starting to work with a lot of people that are like LinkedIn heavy and now decided, okay, I want to like start YouTube more and like focus more on like long form video. And it's always very interesting to see the kind of impact that like a long form YouTube video can have versus, text post on LinkedIn. And it's always like so much different. So yeah, definitely agree on that. Yeah, like lastly, in terms of like based on, the results that you've seen so far, like where do you see this whole your YouTube channel in the next 6 to 12 months from now?
I would hope, my whole goal was to have Instantly's reach and subscriber count in 12 months. Now, I think I have their reach. If I just look at the videos they're putting out, our videos seem on average to do about like theirs. I think their breakouts might be bigger, but I think they also might be putting ad spend behind those. But I've been shocked by our breakout. It's just gone way better than I expected. And it's almost like that to me is what's valuable rather than the subscriber count. So like, while it'd be great to have whatever, 50, 60, 70,000 subscribers, like what's important to me is like, I remember when we started this, it just seemed unfathomable to me that I could get like 2,500 to 5,000 people watching, 70% of whom watch 2/3 of the video or something like that. Or like 30% make it through almost the whole thing, right? Like that just seemed completely unattainable because I was dropping videos and they were getting like 80 views, So like, if we can just like, and YouTube's funny, like some hit, some don't, but like gradually increase the average number of views that like make it all the way to the end. It's just amazing. I mean, you try to think, it's like, okay, so we had one that got like, I don't know, 30,000 views and like maybe like 25% of those people made it through the whole thing. So that's like 7 or 8,000, right? Like think about a football stadium with 7,000 people in it. You know what I mean? Like it's so wild. And these numbers like relative to like the AI guys or Hormozi or whatever, they're tiny, but still just like, that's a crazy number of people sitting there listening to you teach for 15 minutes, like, and what is the point of all this? Like, I don't know what the power of this is ultimately going to be for me someday. I have no idea, but like, I've always had this belief that if you can just get people learning from you, like you will, it's just, we're in the attention economy. That's what it's all about. Luckily, I have some pretty good ways to monetize right now. So, I'll keep it going.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize like what's actually behind the numbers, especially on the YouTube side of things. Because yeah, sure, if you get like 100,000 impressions on LinkedIn, like, you know, probably they just like read the post and that's it. But like when it comes to a YouTube video, like they like sit down and like literally watch your face just speaking for like 5, 10, 15 minutes. So yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that. Also, man, like just last question, if anyone's on the fence, let's say about like working with us, they know that they probably want to do YouTube, but they're still on the fence, what would you tell them?
I would say just try it. What is the downside? Even if you're going to charge them like whatever your monthly rate is for a month or so, like what is the downside of just like feeling what the rhythm would be like? Because that's the biggest thing for me. I mean, I might be in a different situation than some people listening to this, but like I'm fucking busy, man. Like there's not a path to YouTube without a rhythm like we have. You know, what I would be doing if I hadn't have met you is we would just be producing this interview show on YouTube and it would be getting 300 views and I would be annoyed by that. But I would have no idea how to actually fix that and make it work for me the way that I want it to work for me. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, totally agree on that. Like, yeah, in terms of being a founder and doing YouTube, I've yet to see someone that does it consistently without like a full in-house YouTube team or with like a vendor or agency. Cool.
Yeah, and like I don't even know. I don't know how to. I don't know how to hire the full. Show me the founder that wasn't a content creator before that knows what an in-house YouTube team looks like, right? Like nobody does. You know, like it's not what we do.
That's like the whole Moses, the Dan Martells that end up like hiring their own media team.
Yeah, exactly. But like they're like Dan Martell hasn't been a SaaS guy for 20 years, you know, or at least 15. I think he sold his company in 2012. So like he has been a content shop for 15 years, you know? So like that's not, it's like he's not a SaaS guy anymore. Like
exactly. Yeah, I mean, hiring an in-house YouTube team is if you're not like a media company like Hormozy or Dan Martell, like it's what I do because I build a YouTube agency and it's like I know how hard it is to like find all these like pieces. So like I know. Awesome. Any final thoughts you would like to tell the viewers?
Yeah, I mean, I just like really believe in the power of video. I haven't been using it as much on LinkedIn because like I felt like it was like really adversely impacting my reach, these talking heads. And like, you know, I also, it just is obvious to me that like people will be going to YouTube to learn more about, you know, B2B in the future, way more than they do now. So, you know, if you're in B2B, the obvious first place is LinkedIn. But like once that thing is moving in the right direction, I would strongly encourage at least exploring what the additional lift would be to sort of have this thing going on for you on the side, right? Like that's all I got.
Awesome. Yeah. Appreciate you hopping on. Yeah, super excited for the next 6 to 12 months scaling this channel further.
And thanks for all that you do.
I appreciate it. And yeah, looking forward to it.